taraf Abresan'dı.
The official start of the school year in Iran has always been on the 1st of Mer, marking the beginning of autumn. In 2024, the 1st of Mer coincides with September 22nd. Kindergarten and first graders have already started, but students from the second grade onward will return to school on Sunday. Saturday is a public holiday due to a commemorative day.
Selam, yürüyün. Kula poşlar ne çadı? Yo, mamulu.
Ben demediyseniz uşak oyuncu.
Orada Fatih Böcü sarıyor.
Doğum dese.
Doğum. Ne çadı o gibi?
500 aşağı.
The seller mentioned that this backpack is designed to be water repellent and is hands-free friendly, making it convenient for everyday use.
The educational system in Iran has undergone significant changes since the revolution, and if you have not been in the country for a long time, you may need to update your previous knowledge. In the early years after the revolution, children attended kindergarten at the age of 6 and started elementary school 1 year later. After 5 years of primary education, if they passed all their years without repeating any, they would move on to middle school. Following 3 years of middle school, they would enter high school, which consists of 3.5 years of study to obtain a diploma and prepare for university. It has been said that this educational system was inspired by France, but the accuracy of this claim and the degree of influence is debatable. Currently, the structure of the education system is based on the Fundamental Transformation Document, which includes primary education followed by secondary education. Each educational level is divided into distinct periods. The formal and general education phase encompasses a general education period, which includes primary and lower secondary education, and a semi-specialized phase of upper secondary education. At the conclusion of upper secondary education, students receive a diploma. The preschool period consists of a formal and non-mandatory program for young children, providing educational and developmental programs. The curriculum and attendance at preschool centers are flexible and adaptable to the characteristics of the children. Primary education begins at the age of 6. The curriculum for the initial years of primary education is designed flexibly, taking into account the abilities and differences of students, with special remedial and preparatory education for those in underprivileged and bilingual areas. Counseling and educational guidance are mandatory at all educational levels. The choice of educational branch and field occurs at the end of general education, based on performance during this period. Upper secondary education includes 3 branches: theoretical, technical, and vocational, and skilled work. Each branch offers various fields, determined by community needs, current conditions, and implementation possibilities. In Iran, there is no homeschooling system, and many people are unaware of this method, which is common in the United States. As a result, most parents have high expectations of schools and typically only help their children with homework, not more than that. However, there are exceptions. In the past, students only needed to purchase clothing and bags, which were usually carried by hand or as crossbody bags, for the new school year.
Hemen bazar tarafında pasajyan yoldan gittiğimiz pasajlar əksərən
Some educational supplies, including books, notebooks, and stationery, were provided by the school with a fee. Additionally, education in public schools was free and did not require tuition. Most students learn to go to school independently and without transportation services starting at the age of 6. In winter's cold and summer's heat, children often walk to school, and even in large cities, efforts were made to choose the closest school to their residence. Over time, the educational system changed, leading to the establishment of private schools and school transportation services.
Ağa, maziklər neçə olur?
Ulan şişenizlerde var aşağı.
Dəftər yoldaşlar neçə?
Onlar yaklaşık 90.
In the past, families typically had more than 3 children, but nowadays, most families have only 1 child and believe their child should study in private schools with small class sizes and use transportation services. Moreover, school supplies have expanded to include various bags, shoes, and clothing.
Qiymətlər neçə olur?
This is a summary of our outing yesterday. We first headed to the market. Since it was Friday, most shops were closed, except for those selling bags, shoes, and stationery. One day before the school reopening, everyone was busy buying school supplies for their children. In the market, after the Namaz Square, the main centre for selling stationery is located, where both wholesale and retail sales occur. Most backpacks were produced in Tabriz and had good quality, with a wide variety available. Notebooks, pencils, coloured pencils, pencil cases, and water bottles were all available with good quality and reasonable prices. After the market, we went to the Abresin area, which has several good shops.
Təyyarə də var.
We only had time to visit two of them. The first was the Bank Ketab store, which had good merchandise. Their backpacks were Chinese and slightly pricey, but of better quality. Other stationery items were offered in a wide variety and at different prices. Overall, the cost for a student for the school year easily reaches 5 million tamans. Costs for 1 year of primary education in a private school. Registration fee, 25 million tamans. School transportation, 12 million tamans, varies by route. Uniform, specified by the school, 2 million tamans. Books, 100,000 tamans. Backpack, average price 1 million tamans. Stationery, notebooks, pencils, erasers, rulers, coloured pencils, and other supplies specified by the school, approximately 1.5 million tamans. In total, the costs for a school year exceed 40 million tamans. Of course, registration fees vary among schools. In neighborhoods like Varli Ars, prices are higher. Some schools charge tuition fees ranging from 50 to 60 million tamans. The registration fees for public schools are around 1 to 2 million tamans. I'm not entirely sure, but it seems that public schools are currently less favored by families, with more parents sending their children to private schools. These costs increase every year due to inflation and economic conditions. For example, Last year we paid 14 million tomans for registration, but this year it is 25 million tomans. The transportation cost was 8 million last year and is 12 million this year. The uniform cost was 1.2 million last year and is now 2 million tomans.
Teşekkürler. $200 $198.
In the past, most additional expenses, such as tutoring and exam preparation classes, were incurred in the final years of high school. However, it seems that the business aspect of education begins in the early years of a student's time in school. It should also be noted that classes for teaching test-taking strategies for university entrance exams have developed and improved compared to the past. And students are now learning how to solve difficult math, chemistry, and physics questions, which are in multiple choice format, efficiently and within seconds. Costs may vary for different schools. Prices are higher in affluent neighborhoods. And some schools even have tuition fees of 50 and 60 million tomans. Let's share some information about universities, as university students in Iran also begin their academic year on the first day of fall, which falls in May. Not all university entrance exam candidates are accepted into public universities, and some choose to study at private, tuition-based institutions based on their circumstances. Therefore, it is essential to research various universities and their conditions. In Iran, the tuition-based universities include Islamic Azad University, self-funded campuses, Payam Noor University, non-profit universities, and second shift evening programs.